Hey y'all. Let me rewind this. Hi everyone. We live, baby. Hey Billy. Let me see if I can. Okay. Did I accept? Did it work? What is it? Okay, there it is.
We
We
live.
live, baby.
We live with it.
Let's see.
I like the gospel vibes right now.
You do?
Yeah.
Hey Deja girl, thanks for tuning in. Tap, tap, tap in.
They.
So we're gonna wait till 9.
Yeah, we a little early.
Can you see people who watching? Can you see the number? You can't, right? I don't think you can. I think it's just on my end.
No, I can.
Oh wow, I don't know why they
Yeah, I don't know what other people can see. I can see them on my end.
Deja, tap back in. Is that you? Deja, you still here?
That's
Okay.
Dage.
Hey, Durder. What's up, Durwood? Okay, Von Burks. Okay, y'all tapping in.
Von Burks. Oh my guy. What's up, man?
So we'll get started. Okay, you're here. So if you went to HBCU, drop the name in the chat. I already see what's here. Yes,
I see a lot of Virginia State.
And if you didn't go, just drop the peace sign, gang, gang. Hey, thank you. Not VSU stand up. I was mad that I actually wore orange. I was like, this is not, I don't rep, this is not my HBCU, but HBCU love.
Yeah, I think they hair balance it though, you know what I'm saying? The sharp
There
colors.
was that Hell State. Oh yeah, the hair is giving Shaw you vibes.
I'm about to say the hair balance it out.
So we're going to get started exactly at 9. So let me get my little spiel. I don't really wait for people to get on because I know they'll see it eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Is my music too loud?
No, I think it's good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So hi everyone, I'm Danielle Beal, the founder of Thrive Coaching Co. And so I provide life coaching for HBCU students, HBCU grads, and young adults. And so I empower HBCU students, HBCU grads, and young adults to thrive through life changes and transitions. What's up? Everybody's tuning in. I'm trying to hit the wave. My nails too long. I don't even know how to operate them. Can't really work with these things. Okay. Okay, and Charles is our special guest. What school are you repping? Whoop, whoop, whoop.
You already know Big State, Virginia State University, all the way from
Petersburg. You see the
Petersburg.
nails? Come on, Big State.
You know how we do it.
Okay. And so we're going to start with an icebreaker. Just because I know when I'm on live, sometimes I be feeling like I'm on TV. And so I just want to make it fun. Mm-hmm. So, Charles, it's a bunch of random things in here. Ooh. So
let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay, so what fast food restaurant reminds you of your HBCU?
Ooh, this is tough because everybody know my favorite. I'm gonna say my favorite fast food restaurant is Panda, right? But if I had to say one that reminds me of my HBCU, I'll probably have to say I'm gonna probably say Wendy's. Wendy's is like a nice in between spot of a good and not too bad. You know what I'm saying? Fast food restaurant.
You said Wendy's. You know, Cannon said,
yeah.
Cannon said, you know, Big State is known for steak. We know that. Deja said Cookout. So I think I agree with Deja. So when you think about Virginia State, what fast food restaurant comes to mind? What comes to mind when you think about fast food Virginia State? Because I think about Cookout too. Yeah, because it's like boom, right there. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it. Yeah, definitely Cookout.
Yeah, you was naming your favorite. Period. You said Wendy's.
No, I thought you were saying which one would I compare it to, like,
Gotcha.
Like a high ranking or something. But yeah, Cookout definitely.
Another one. What's some slang you learned at your HBCU? Yeah.
So look, I hung with a lot of people up north. So a lot of people up north, they be like, what's good, or you know what I'm saying, "Ja like" and stuff like that. I don't really know what "Ja like" mean, but you know what I'm saying. My roommate, he always saying "Ja like." So
Ja like. Yeah,
Ja like.
Wawa. Two people said Wawa. What's up, Phil?
Wow.
Yeah,
My boy Phil.
It's funny because when I think about my HBCU, I think about Cookout, but that was before it even came to Virginia. North Carolina was the original location. But let me shake for myself before we get started. So it says I started doing that when I got to my HBCU. There where you learn DC slang. Yeah, let me see. So what did I start doing when I got to my HBCU? I started being very vocal, like speaking up for myself after going to my HBCU. I became real, like, power to the people. And, like, everybody can tell you that I wasn't like that before. But, yeah, that's something I started doing. And also started wearing weave, okay? Weave. And that's been a blessing. I'm glad that I learned that from my HBCU.
Nah, that's tough. That's tough. That's some good things, though. I ain't gonna lie, that's good. That's some positive benefits from your HBCU.
Exactly. Hi, Ivy Pearl. And so you want to do one more?
Yeah, we can do another one. Let's do it.
Okay.
I want to be real transparent with the people.
Ooh, this song got me ready to go in. Okay, so what is one thing that you would do if you knew you could not fail?
One thing that I would do if I knew I couldn't fail. Shoot, it'll probably be everything that I want to do. Just some of the things, you know, that come across your mind and that you want to do initially, and you just think those thoughts just start coming. You like, what if I fail? What if this? I can't really say one specific area, but you know how faith works. Anything that I'm trying to achieve in my life, you know, it's always negative thoughts. If I knew I couldn't fail at anything, I really wouldn't question it. You know what I'm saying?
So you think you do everything?
Yeah, just anything that at that moment. I can't really say it's one thing that I would try to do. I would do if I knew I couldn't fail, but just anything that comes to me in that season of my life that, you know how it is, you believe in something and you just get those negative thoughts or something like that. So, So yeah.
All right. That's good. So we'll go ahead and get started. Again, thanks everyone for tuning in. I'm Danielle Beal. Hey girl, hey guys, or whatever. I am the founder of Thrive Coaching Co. And so I provide life coaching for HBCU students, HBCU grads, and young adults. I empower them to thrive through life changes and transitions. And so Charles Jones, woo! He's our special guest. He is repping. Go ahead, say it one more time.
You already know, Virginia State University, big state, out of Petersburg.
All right. And so is there anything that you would like to tell us about yourself to get started?
Yeah, so definitely. I just want to say shout out to everybody that's on this live right now. Family, friends, whoever it may be. I just want to shout you out. And I also want to shout out my big sis, Minister Bill, Miss Bill, whatever the people calling you right now. Thrive Coaching, you're doing it all. So I just want to shout you out. But yeah, as you mentioned before, my name is Charles Jones. I am a recent graduate of Virginia State University, summa cum laude. You already know how it goes. So I graduated with a bachelor's in computer science. So I would say I'm very tech savvy right now. You know, all my tech people, the black engineers, we stand up right now. And yeah, that's a little bit about myself.
Okay. And so we're going to go ahead and get this started. And so, Charles, you were a transfer student. And so when you were in high school, when did the thought of attending college cross your mind?
Yeah, so this is going to sound pretty bad, right? It really didn't cross my mind until about after Christmas break, my senior year of high school. So all the requirements would say that you should start looking at colleges in your junior year of high school. You should take about 3 practice SATs and stuff like that, and you should start looking at schools around your junior year. So I say about at the winter break of my senior year of high school, I really started thinking about college. I'm seeing my friends get accepted into schools, and I'm like, wow, I really got to do something. So I think my mom, she mentioned, she was like, the SAT is coming up. So I took it, and that was the only opportunity I had to take the SAT because it was so close to graduation time. And that was really when college became a thing for me. And it was, at the moment, I didn't realize how much I shot myself in the foot, but, you know, things worked out, which we're going to explain a little bit later.
Okay, so no, it's not a bad thing that you thought about it at the time that you did. So I think that's cool. So you thought about it, you took the SAT, you gave it a chance, and so boom. So you applied to some colleges, and what was the response once you applied to those colleges?
Denied. Yeah, so I think I had applied to like 3 schools, and I really did that because, you know, at the time you were motivating me. My mother, she was motivating me to just apply, even though I didn't meet the standards. So it was just those people that was in my corner that gave me the faith to even to try, because I wasn't even gonna try. I was like, nah. I took the SAT one time. My scores are not that great. You know, in high school I wasn't doing the best. You know, I wasn't doing a lot of things that I should have been doing at the time, which some of y'all know up here, but. So I just took the chance and listened to my family, and I applied to those schools, and I wasn't accepted. And it hurt at the time, but, you know, things, like I said, things kind of worked themselves out.
Okay. And so, boom, you're like, okay, I applied, I got denied. And did you have any conversations with any guidance counselors at your school at all?
So when I was trying to get my transcript to actually apply to college, I think I had one conversation with a guidance counselor, and it really wasn't too long. She was just telling me with your GPA and your SAT scores, you're gonna have to go to community college. She didn't even recommend me to even try. So yeah, it was kind of tough, but you know, like I said, I had good people in my corner that were able to allow me to just telling me to try. Even if you fail, even if it doesn't, you get rejected, just try, see what happens. Anything can happen. So that's what I did.
Yeah, that's good. And so you made a huge point, right? You had that support, like Deja said, felt that Phil said we was cutting up. Madison, you know, and so that's fine, right? Because you're in high school, you living life, you're having fun.
Definitely.
And so the guidance counselor piece, how the guidance counselor automatically said, boom, go to community college. And so what if you would have listened, you know, to the guidance counselor? What if you didn't have that supportive family in your background to push you forward? You know what I'm saying? So I just think it's amazing that you did have, of course, you had us in your corner to root you on to say, you know what, you college material. Yeah. So in your opinion, what do you think is college material? Like, did you think you were college material?
Yeah, so originally I didn't think I was college material because I was so big on what my GPA was or what my SAT scores was. I thought that was college material, but when you get to college, you're gonna really see that those requirements are a lot different once you get into the door. So at the time in high school, I didn't think I was college material, but when I actually got to college and I realized what college material was, how to be a student, how to study, how to actually apply yourself, it's not really that big of a gap. We try to make it something that's so big, but college is really just doing the same thing consistently over and over again. You can get good results from what you're doing, you know? Right. I don't think something that's so far-fetched to say that nobody can achieve it. It's not really the case.
Right. And also, just to piggyback off of what y'all said, is like schools have GPA requirements, but they always accept a percentage below that requirement. And then also schools look at the whole package. So they may look at your essay, your SAT score. It may look at all of that. So if you listen to this live or if you come across this video and you like, well, my GPA, it's not college material, I just want to encourage you to apply anyway, because you might get in. Like, and so it's worth a try. The worst they could say is no. And so with that being said, was Virginia State University your first choice?
I can't sit up here and lie. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna say I haven't like this. So you know, I've been playing football since a long time. So when I was in freshman year of high school, I always said I wanted to go to Florida State. I want to go to Florida State, play football. But you know, a couple of years down the line, some injuries, if you know, that didn't. You know what I'm saying? That didn't actually play out the way I wanted it to. So my sister Deja, who's actually on this live, she went to Virginia State, and so when she went, she took a tour, and I was actually able to look and see at some of the things. I was like, it's a pretty nice school, even though at the time I really didn't know where I wanted to go. It was close to home, so I went to Virginia State, and that was one of the ones I really wanted to go to in Norfolk State at the time. I knew I wanted to stay home once I made my mind up with the decision of where I wanted to go. So.
Okay. And so is that why you didn't choose Shaw? I mean, because you saw Shaw a lot when you went with me. You know what I'm saying? Why you ain't choose my HBCU? Why you had to choose state? But no.
Nah, it's all love with Shaw.
And so what made Virginia State stand out? What's up, Will?
What made it stand out for me? I think for me, when I first got to Virginia State and I took the tour around campus, I really liked the facilities. It was really, I say Virginia State is really in the middle. Like, so they still have like a historical part of the university, but they still have a lot of new facilities. So what I wanted to do, computer science, that building, Hunter Mac, an engineering building, they were fairly new. They had good equipment, and, you know, they had some new dorms and stuff like that. So for me, Virginia State is kind of like in the middle because, you know, some HBCUs, they look really old, right? So for me, I know I didn't want to invest in something that looked really historical. I know some people do. They want to go, you know, go to certain HBCUs for that historical feel. But for me, I think it had to have a balance. And I think Virginia State has a good balance of their campus life. So that's one of the things that really stood out for me.
Yeah, that's dope. And so Virginia State, I agree, it does have a beautiful campus, very beautiful. So yeah. I feel you. You know, I like where I can feel the ancestors. I like those historic schools.
like the
I want to feel the hollow grounds at the HBCU. But yeah, Virginia State definitely is very modern, but it still has the historic feel, but it's very modern. It's a beautiful campus, I will say myself.
Yeah,
and so I know you mentioned, you know, going to community college. And so, of course, this live, we're going to talk about your transition from community college to Virginia State. And so how was your experience at community college?
Yeah. So community college to me, I remember my first day, I seen a lot of my friends that I went to high school with. And so it really wasn't, for me, it really wasn't that big of a, I would say transition because it really wasn't that much different from high school. Yeah. So I seen people I knew from high school. And then the community college that I went to at the time in Portsmouth, it's a newer campus and it was very nice. They had a cafeteria. Everything was nice and stuff like that. But I would say for me going, it really didn't take a lot. I wouldn't say it took a lot of faith because it was right down the street. It was fairly comfortable. You know, when I got there, I got comfortable and, you know, knowing some people that were already there that I went to high school with, it made it a little bit better and stuff. So yeah, I wouldn't say the transition from high school to community college was really that bad in my opinion.
And do you feel like community college was beneficial in any way? Because I know when I was in high school, I would often hear the guidance counselor say, like, you save money or you'll be able to do these 2 years, get your GPA up, and then accelerate when you get to university. But the reality is it don't really happen like that. So did you feel like those classes that you took were actually beneficial, or did you see the experience at all being beneficial at community college?
So, yeah, I'm going to just add on to that. It really depends on your situation. So I know for some people, their situation, they can come in and they can take all the direct college classes and then they can do 2 years, boom, and then they're out of university. But everybody's situation is not like that, right? So my situation, it really wasn't like that. So like I mentioned before, I didn't have the best SAT, I didn't have the best GPAs. So I mean, I had to take some prerequisites before I could take some college classes. So long story short, I think my writing scores were pretty good. So I was able to go straight into college composition. But my math scores were a little bit low. So they wanted me to take at least about, I think, 5 math classes before I could get to Calc 1. So wow. If anybody knows that, yeah, it was going to take me a long time to get to where I needed to be. So, so for my situation, it was really kind of a hindrance, but I think the classes that I did take, I was taking Composition 1. That's a college course. If you go to a university, it was really good. But the rest of the classes I was taking, they were just really, they were prerequisites. I really wasn't in my major yet. So it would took me a long time to get to where I wanted to go.
And see, that was going to lead me into my next question, because you hear 2 years and then you transfer. But like you said, you had to take 5 classes before you get to Calc. So if you would have stayed on the community college track, how long would you have been in community college?
That's a good question. It would have been a long time. I really didn't, at the time, I didn't go to guidance counselors and seek out my track or my path, but I would have said it would have took me at least a good 3 years if I would have passed all those courses at times. So that's me taking all the prerequisite math classes that I need to take, and that's me passing them, and then actually going to the Calc 1 classes that I need to even transfer to a four-year university. So it could have took at least about 3 or 4 years, to be honest, before I got to where I need to be.
So it taking the amount of time that it takes to complete a bachelor's degree.
Yeah, wow. Just trying to get it. So. Okay.
And so, boom, you're at community college. You're like, okay, this is a high school 2.0. And so, you're like, hey, this is, boom, it's still high school, same thing, pretty much. And so then out of nowhere, you get an acceptance letter to Virginia State University. How did you feel?
To God be the glory. But nah. Yeah. It was so unexpected. I remember coming home. I think I got the acceptance letter to Virginia State in November. So that fall semester was just about to end, and I was comfortable. I was at home. I was working. Had a little girlfriend. Everything was cool. It was comfortable. And then I get this letter. Like, what? I'm planning in my head 3 years, 4 years. I'm gonna be here for a minute. I'm gonna be home for a minute, and it's just like, what? I get the letter in Virginia State. They're like, we're gonna accept you under academic probation, and we're gonna give you a chance to, to come to school after I was rejected there. So it was just a blessing. Only something God can do.
Okay, only something God can do. And that's why we got to shout out our HBCUs, because Virginia State, they gave you a chance. And so you already said you graduated with honors, and so you went from being a 2.0 student in high school, getting rejected, to getting accepted into college. And so that's major, okay? That's major. I had to do my little hand clap thing. And so that's just proof that it does not, your GPA in high school, right? It does not mean that you are not smart. A GPA does not mean your intellectual capacity or capabilities. Sometimes life be happening. Sometimes stuff be going on. And let's be real, the curriculum in high school, oh my gosh, like it need to be changed, because when I was in high school, that thing was boring. I'm like, why do I even need to learn this? Yeah. And so that's great. So we celebrate you getting that acceptance letter. You have VSU, your HBCU believed in you. Okay, shout out to VSU.
Yeah.
Hell State.
Big state.
Hell State. And so, as a transfer student, Deja, I'm talking about Shaw. Okay, and so when you got that acceptance letter, I know you said you had a girlfriend. You had already had in your mind 3 to 4 years. And so, how did you feel? Were you afraid of actually accepting the offer to Virginia State?
Yeah, so it's like the offer was everything I wanted. That was everything I was praying for. But then when I got it, it's like, I didn't, man, that's in the back of the head. It's like, I was just overlooked, being away from home, actually being on your own, and everything that's going to come with college and the college experience. But like I said, once again, I had good people behind me telling me this is the opportunity you need to take, because sometimes it's not going to come around again. Some opportunities, you don't know when it's going to come around again. So just being me and just me praying on it, I just felt like I had to take that risk. So I took it.
So that's good. So you do not regret the risk that you took?
No, I don't.
That's good. And so as a transfer student to Virginia State, did you have any challenges finding your place? Since as a transfer student, of course, they don't have like a big orientation like they do for, first-time freshmen. Mm-hmm. And so, did you find adjusting to college life being difficult as a transfer student?
So yeah, it was pretty difficult. Like you mentioned before, when you come as a transfer student, it's not a lot of parties and welcome weeks and stuff like that. They're not shooting the horns and carnivals. Mm-hmm. It's not like, so it was hard for me at first. I had this idea of college, how I wanted it to be, but sometimes you can pray for certain things and it's not how you expect it to be. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It doesn't mean you should run away from it. It doesn't mean you should leave, but that's just your story. So even though it was hard, I had to accept my story and I had to continue to walk through those difficult times until I found my people, until I found my place, until I found people I connected with.
Mm. And so I know you mentioned, your faith being a factor and also, that aspect as well. And so how can colleges and universities better integrate transfer students because, of course, we acknowledge everyone's path being different. We also acknowledge your faith. We also acknowledge that colleges and universities can improve, how transfer students are integrated into the schools. Mm-hmm. And so what is a recommendation that you would give to a college or a university about integrating those transfer students? Oh, wow. So VSU now has orientation for incoming transfer students. That's dope. Dang, that's dope. That's so dope.
Yeah, that's definitely needed because it wasn't around in my day. But just to answer the question that you just asked, so what I would say is, we look at the title transfer student and we automatically assume that these people have a lot of college experience or they've been at school for a long time. So in my situation, I was a transfer student, but one semester, so I was technically still a freshman. I was still, I'm still young. I don't really have any 4-year university experience. I don't know what it's like living on a dorm. So I would just, put the name transfer student aside and just treat them like, new incoming freshmen, treat them just like somebody that's first time coming to school. They're taking that first step and coming to school, and just having programs in place where they can connect with other transfer students and also some recent students. I think the biggest thing that I saw with a lot of transfer students was that we were separated and we really didn't know each other. And then for the recent students, they already knew each other. They already had people that they already clicked with from the previous semester. So it kind of made it harder. I would just say make programs and just try to integrate, because sometimes people want to be involved, but they don't know how, or they're scared to take that step. So just make everybody feel comfortable at home and just try to mix everybody in. I think that's the best way to go.
That's good. No, that's dope. That's dope ideas. And I'm going to write those down when I go back and listen to this live. Okay. So I've heard that her son is transferring to VSU. So that's major. So congratulations to your son. And so, Charles, highlight that one more time, because the phone was breaking up a little bit. But I just want what you said to be heard about that process for transfer students, what they can incorporate. It's breaking up. It was breaking up a little when you were talking.
Can you repeat that? It broke up a little bit too when you said something.
Okay, yeah. So now I was saying, can you repeat that aspect that you said, that advice that you would give to organizations and schools about helping transfer students integrate into the university?
Yeah, so just treat transfer students like regular first-time freshmen coming in. Like I said, the name transfer student can apply that these people are coming in with a whole bunch of experience. They know how to live on dorms and stuff like that. But there's people coming from community colleges. Like my situation, I was a transfer student, but I was really still a freshman. I only had one semester of college, and I was a community college. So I never stayed on a dorm. I never did a lot of that stuff a lot of other people could have did that transfer from universities. So I would say just treat them like first-time freshmen. Just show them around the campus, get them involved, make sure you have programs in place where everybody can connect that's transferring. And also not just with the transfer students, but also recent students at Virginia State or whatever school that you had. Just make sure we're all involved. Like I said, I think everybody must be connected. But it's like fear is a big barrier nowadays. Well, it's always going to be a big barrier.
That's good. That's really good feedback.
Yeah.
And so what advice would you give to a student who's transferring from a community college or another university to, someone who's just transferring, whether it's community college or 4-year university, to another school? What advice would you give to that student?
So yeah, the advice that I would give, I would just say be open. It's a new environment. Even though if you did come from a community college 4-year university, or whatever the case may be, it's still a different school, it's still a different group of people, it's still a different experience. I would just say be open-minded. Don't have this big picture of what you think everything should look like, how it should all feel, what the transition should be like. Just be open, and don't be afraid to reach out to people, to connect to people. I think at the end of the day, the old saying says that everybody's really scared at the end of the day. It's just not you, what I'm saying? It's a new experience. Right. And it's, but don't let it paralyze you from what you're trying to do.
That's good. So don't let it paralyze you.
Don't do it.
Okay, and so we're just going to do another really quick icebreaker.
Oh, you got icebreakers.
In between, a quick little intermission type thing.
Yeah.
All right, and your connection. Okay, It's going in, and I'm trying to make sure it's stable. Okay. All right. It's kind of going in and out. Can you hear me good?
Yeah, I can hear you good. It's kind of like fuzzy a little bit.
Okay, yeah, because it's showing a little fuzzy on your end. Okay, so quick icebreaker question. When you think of your HBCU, what gospel song comes to mind?
You are Alpha. I say Alpha and Omega. I'm gonna say Alpha and Omega, man.
You said Alpha and Omega?
Yeah, because I say that because my first semester I went to the Founders Day, and I remember the choir that's one of the songs that they sung was Alpha and Omega, and it's like every time I used to pull up Virginia State, that's what I used to. That's just in my head, Alpha and Omega.
Alpha and Omega, okay. Okay, University choir. I can't think of their name. Derwood, if you still up here, what's the name of the Virginia State University chorale? But I can't think of their name. Okay, and so one more. Well, I already did that. What is one thing you wish you were told to bring to college as an incoming freshman? Well, as a transfer student.
One thing I wish that I was told to bring to college. I don't really know. I think I pretty much had everything that I needed. Yeah, I don't think it was anything that I was missing or I feel like I should have had. I think I pretty much had it.
Well, our answer for me, even though it was a long time ago, even though the air fryers were not out when I was in college, but I wish they were. Like, I would have been cooking up some stuff in there. Because I had to keep cooking them noodles in the hot pot, trying to make hamburger helper in the hot pot. So, yeah, I wish air fryers were out back then.
Oh, no, I got to add on to that because I should have had a bigger refrigerator. Now that I think about it.
Oh, that is good. A bigger yeah.
Any fridge, it don't cut the mustard sometimes, man. And I'm hungry, no, I'm nights. It will if you up here, you know.
Yeah, you trying to pack the little fridge. Yeah, that's a good one too, the big fridge.
Yeah.
Okay, and so Charles, you talked about your faith throughout this live experience. So how was your college experience being a young man of faith? Did you feel like there were moments when God was setting you apart from your friends or from, the crowds?
Definitely. So yeah, I think my first experience was like when I first moved in. Like I said, I was a transfer student, and so my first living situation at Virginia State University, I was in an upperclassman dorm called Gateway Hall, and my roommate, he was a senior, and so at the time it was really difficult. So like I said, I'm a transfer student, but I'm really a first time freshman, and my roommate, he was a senior. I didn't really understand it at the time why that would happen to me, but I looked at it as God's protection in hindsight, just making sure that I was put around, an older group of people that was really older. He put me into a lot of games. He really wasn't as wild as some of the first-time freshmen eager. So it was really making sure that I was in a place where I could really just grow and not be influenced to do things that I really didn't need to do like I did in high school and stuff like that. So it was... I could say it's more than just that one moment. I could say I felt the separation by God, but I think that was one that immediately as I came into college, that's one that really stood out to me. I was like, this is different. Like, what? I want to be with a freshman. I want to be with people my age. You're going to put me in here with a 20, 23 or 24-year-old? Like, what? This don't make sense.
Was that an uncomfortable experience when you transferred and you had a roommate who was a senior?
So in my head, you know how it is. You get overthinking. You like, man. But when I actually met him, and we actually talked and stuff like that, he was a pretty good dude. He told me a lot of things about the school, and he was really chill. He really wasn't, like some of the people like my age that came in. He wasn't so eager. He wasn't on a whole bunch of parties. He was ready to go. So it was perfect for me. He wasn't trying to do a whole bunch of crazy, wild stuff. And, at the time, I think at that time I was like 19. I probably would have went along with whatever he was doing, but he wasn't really doing. So yeah, it was a perfect situation. I look back at it.
Wow, that's good. That's good. So that just that speaks to the intentionality of God. And so you were nervous about having a roommate that was a senior, But you also said if you would have had a roommate who was an incoming freshman who was partying or doing whatever, you may have fell into that and started doing those things. And so that's good. So having that upperclassman roommate actually worked out in a way where, yeah, God's plan exactly. And so that's really good. And so what advice would you give to a college student who is a believer, right? And you have so many things around you.
Yeah.
And so what would you say to the person that's like, you know what? Like, I'm in my faith or whatever, but you know what I'm saying? Why God had to pull me this way? You know, what would you how would you encourage that person that feels like they're missing out on something because they do choose to follow God's plan?
So yeah, the first thing I would say is it's not a punishment. Don't take it to heart. Don't take it personal. I feel like anybody that's been called or been separated by God or is going to be used by God, you got to go through what we call separation. So don't take it personal. Don't try to lash out like this is unfair. You know what I'm saying? I would just, I think the thing that really got me through a lot of those times is just believing that God is always true when it seems like he's wrong. So I think as a believer, we're called to walk by faith. So if you're only dependent on what you see, what you feel is right, and what other people are doing, then you're gonna end up in error. So for me, I try to believe God is true no matter what situation I face. And with sometimes I didn't like it, but I understood He was protecting me. So you can run from it, or you can work with Him. I choose to work with Him.
And so that's good. So, like you said, just being firm in that belief and not being swayed. And so you were able to meet some really good people and make friends while you were there. And so this was actually a question that I actually forgot to mention in the beginning, but how was your process when you transferred? How was it making friends? Did you find that difficult at all as a transfer student?
Yeah, so it was pretty difficult. So like I said before, I'm in an upperclassman dorm. So most of the people that's freshmen, they're in other dorms. So it was very difficult. But like I said, I like for that situation as well, I just depended on God. One of my best friends that I met my first semester at Virginia State. I don't know if he's up here, but I met him through sociology class. It was just, I came up to him, we had a conversation, and we just immediately clicked like that. We just been good friends. He was from Jersey, I was from Suffolk, Virginia, and it's like everything that would say we were from two different worlds, we were really just alike. And I just feel like sometimes it's not always going to come to you and people are just going to fall in your lap. Sometimes you just got to have a conversation. I don't know why. If anybody knows me, I'm not really that type of person. But when I just saw him, I just came up, I just had a conversation. And we clicked just like that. And ever since, we've been rocking tight. So sometimes it's just going to take you just stepping out your comfort zone, just having that conversation with a person that you don't really know. But I think it was hard, but I think everything just worked out the way it was supposed
to. That's good. And so great advice. Step out of your comfort zone to make friends. I think that advice is so important now because it's the age of technology. And so everyone is on their phones. And so you look, put the phone down and actually have a conversation with the people who are in your class. That's how you can make friends.
Really.
Talk to people, not just through social media. And so, I know from your experience, because of course I have the honor to be your sister, but how was it at Virginia State, those moments when you were eating in the caf alone, right? Mm-hmm. Is that something that you feel like that's a normal part of a college experience?
So yeah, I just feel like it depends on your college experience. Like I mentioned before, everybody's experience is not the same. I'm not going to say that's a prerequisite, but I just feel like for me and what I needed in my life, it was difficult at first, but I understand it grew me as a man, because once you get to a certain point of life, you're not going to always have people around you 24/7. If that's what you're expecting, it's just unrealistic. It's not like high school or just like or community college. People, once you get to a certain age, people are not going to be around you 24/7. So just having those, it's tough at first, but once you start to understand, like, I feel like the best education is supposed to be something it leaves a mark on you, but it also matures you. So some of those situations that I had to go through, it matured me for future events. And future seasons of my life or where I'm at right now. So it didn't feel too good at first, but I understood, you know, everything. You don't take everything in life personal, you know.
Yeah. And so I even think about my undergraduate experience. And so, of course, my experience is way different than yours. I went to Shaw University, right? I was a part of the marching band, so I had to be there in July. And so there were moments when I had to eat in the caf by myself too, because my roommate didn't want to go to the caf, or some of the other people I met, they like, I'm not eating the caf today. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'm not trying to spend this little bit of money on some food. I'm trying to hold on to this. I might want to use this money to go to one of these parties. So, you know, I would eat in the caf by myself, and we didn't have to-go boxes. Well, we had boxes, but you had to pay for those. And so, you know, there'll be moments I would be eating in the caf by myself too. And so if you are in college and you're eating by yourself, or maybe you're a first-time freshman or you're transferring from community college to a university, just know it's completely normal to eat in the caf by yourself, right? So many people are going to be eating in there by themselves. Nobody's going to be like, oh, my God, that's a weirdo. Like, they're eating by it. No, it's none of that. It's a norm, right? Because you may not have the same class schedule as the people you're cool with. And sometimes they don't even want to go eat, or maybe they went before you, or they not ready to eat when you're ready to eat. So, you know, just being able to say, okay, I'm gonna just go to the caf because I'm hungry.
Nah.
And so also, so last thing, Charles, so you mentioned in the beginning, so you graduated cum laude. I almost pronounced it wrong. Let me say it again. You graduated cum laude. And so you went from the 2.0 to honors. And so what is one study tip that you would like to share with, you know, a current college student?
Yeah, so I think a good study tip that I use, I mean, anybody who knows me went to college with me, I just say take advantage of your free time. So for me, I really like the library. So most of the time after classes, after I finish with my classes for the day and I got my dinner or whatever, I like the library. So I would take the largest gaps in my day and I would just go in the library and just you know what I'm saying, just dive into my programming work, my anything, projects, anything like that. I would just really just dive in and take advantage of your time. I feel like college, the main thing is just how you spend your time, but I feel like that's life too. What are you going to do with the time that you have, you know? So you can, I don't know, you can scroll all day, or you can just take some time aside, at least about 3 hours, 4 hours, and put it back into your schoolwork. So for me, I think the biggest thing for me coming into college, I always tell myself I wanted to leave with something, right? Me going from high school to college, I said I wanted to leave with something, and I wanted to do better than what I did in high school. So when I came to college, I was pretty determined. I knew what I wanted to do. I really didn't know how I was going to do it, but I made a routine that works for me, and I found study habits that work for me, and then, you know, cum laude and job offers, everything like that. You know, it's nothing short of the grace of God. But.
And so Ivy Pearl said, congratulations. Will said, bro was locked in the lab.
So you already know, man.
And so, yeah, that's major. So you, like you said, what are you going to do with your time? How are you going to spend your time? That's a major piece in college, that time management. Are you going to be on social media? Yeah. Are you going to be on the scene every time there's an event? Ooh, I hate to admit that was me. It took me some years to get myself focused. But I was definitely on every scene, every party they had. I was like, ooh, sign me up. But it took me some time, right? Each person's experience is different, as you mentioned, Charles. And so, I just love highlighting that you were accepted to Virginia State University on probation. You graduated with honors. So to any person that may come across this video, just know that nothing is off limits to you, for you. Like nothing is off limits. And so take the limits off of yourself. Yeah, I love hearing stories of the 2.0 person, you know, because typically everyone highlights the honor students, right? Rightfully so, right? They earn those high GPAs, rightfully so. They should be highlighted. But something I've noticed is sometimes we just cast aside those who are not in the top percentile of their class, right? And so I love when the 2.0 becomes the honor student, all right? Something about that just... It's the people that people count out, that do great things, right? So don't let nobody sleep on you, okay? If you come on this live, don't let nobody sleep on you, and don't sleep on yourself. And so it doesn't matter if you graduated high school barely with a 2.0, you can graduate college with honors. And something that I often say is that you are more than your GPA, right? And so just don't get caught up in whatever that average is. You're more than that. Even if it's high, you're more than your GPA, right? And so is there any advice, Charles, that you want to just say or leave anyone with?
Yeah, so I think the biggest, I don't know, what's really been on my heart today is just run your race. Just run your race no matter how it looks to other people, no matter how it looks to yourself. Just run your race. Do what you're called to do at the end of the day. Don't look at nobody else. And you just do what you've been set forth to do. I think that's the biggest advice that I can give. I know today's world, we're always comparing ourselves to the next person, what this person got, what that person's got. Maybe it should look like this, maybe it should look like that. But all I can say is run your race. And I think by the grace of God, you're going to end up where you're supposed to be.
Yes. You better preach. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Again, the title of this live, Adjusting as a Transfer Student, How Do I Find My Place? Charles Jones, VSU alumnus, was our guest tonight. He went from a 2.0 to graduating Virginia State the fall of 2022, cum laude. And so we celebrate him. We celebrate him. We celebrate him. You're welcome. And I'm super excited. The Latin honors always give me tongue tied. I'm over here like second guessing myself, like, did I pronounce that right? But yeah. So I am super excited for your future. Shout out to everyone who tuned in. Charles, you will do great things. You're already doing great things. Greater things are in store. Ain't that Virginia State motto? Greater. So greater things are in store for you. You have anything for me before we click off the live?
No, I just like I mentioned before, I just want to say I appreciate you putting this whole thing together. Like I said, we were long overdue. I appreciate you letting me come on your Thrive coaching thing and just give my story and letting the people know that it's not always gonna look like what it see on TV. So I just appreciate you. I honor you for letting me come up here.
You already know. Thank you so much, Ivy Pearl 08. Yes. So thank you, Charles. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And catch us next week, same time, 9 p.m.
Perfect. Hi.
All right. See ya. Good night, everyone.
See ya.